because Miami plays this difficult non-conference schedule where we've already seen Notre Dame. Now we've seen South Florida, and we've got Florida coming up. It's a very difficult non-conference schedule that Miami faces, and all in September. I got to say, in a season in which there's this just myriad of teams where I could throw out a team from especially the SEC and the Big Ten, but also from the other two conferences, and we would still be like, well, we got to see a lot. We still they're probably pretty good, but we'll see whether that's like a Tennessee or a number of teams we could throw out. Yeah, when you say Miami looks like one of the best teams in the country, I have a pretty good grasp on only about 3 or 4 teams definitely being among the best teams in the country. Mm-hmm. But man, they looked super impressive. And again, the opening weekend was closer on the scoreboard than it needed to be. They were clearly the better team. Yep. I do still think Notre Dame's a really good team. I know they're 0-2, but they lost on a walk-off field goal, and because their holder botched a PAT, basically. So I still think they're one of the 10 to 12 best teams in the country.
Yeah, they got to go prove it, though. I mean, having them still ranked at 0-2 after 3 weeks is a laughing stock, but whatever, AP.
I kind of agree with that. Nah. If you're evaluating the teams.
I am, but again, wins and losses count.
Sure, they should
count. If and when they win games in future weeks, put them back in. At this point today, no. Upset or not, I just disagree with it. But hey, we have a differing view on that.
Yeah, and I respect that viewpoint, and I don't think there's sometimes I disagree with a viewpoint and think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous because the wins and losses have to count. Mm-hmm. But the way I evaluate the teams, I still have them ranked barely. I got them at 24. Okay. But to me, the performance of competing against 2 quality teams down to the wire, basically last play, is more legitimate than Penn State going out and pasting 3 just super inferior teams, Nevada, Villanova, FIU, by 35, 45 points. You know what I mean? It's just a more legitimate performance.
Yeah, I just value the record, the tangible result slightly more, which leads me in the different direction. Champ 100, should the Seminole War Canoe, the trophy of the rivalry between Miami and Florida, return? Yes. I mean, but the rivalry, needs to continue to be played, but I would say yes. Pilo, yes, I would want to whoop your ass if you said that this team is more talented than 2001 and 2002. It's the most talented team we've had since, but no, yeah. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, boss. Oh, also, I didn't save the tweet. Sorry, I forget who asked it. It was during while I was writing Good, Bad, and Ugly. They said that they wanted me to explain what USF was doing to cause these false starts. The 5 of them against 4 of the 5. They were simulating the cadence verbally, and they were moving in a way as though they were starting the play. So it wasn't just, okay, we're going to scoot a gap over, or we're going to pinch the line. And it's not just realigning the defensive line. So it's the combination of the 2 things. It's the verbal sound and the snap movement, though it's laterally, which is the same movement that you do going forward at the snap. So they were that's how they were simulating the snap multiple times. They caught Miami with that 4 times, and Mario Cristobal was losing his mind because he's saying they're moving, that's what they're doing. It was 3, and then they did it again. There was 1 Matthew McCoy false start. No, that was just you. But the other 4 were that. And finally, in the 4th quarter, late in the low red zone, they called USF on it way late in the game. And that was what that was. So it is a prohibited move in the world of football at any level to simulate the snap count and also the movement to simulate starting a play, even if you're going laterally. That's what USF was doing. So there was also talk of like the lack of penalties on USF. That really, I think, kept them in the game also, or kept it closer than it even could have been. But we did have the one pass interference on this latest Keelan Marion circus catch that we declined because he caught the ball. So there would have been one earlier. But yeah, that if you go back and look, there's definitely people who've chopped it up online and put it out there. That's what USF was doing to force or draw Miami into false starts because they simulated the snap.
Now Miami moves on to play a Florida football team that I still don't think they're a bad football team. They played a game in which, in some respects, they outplayed LSU in certain ways. I think they outgained them. I watched most of the game, but DJ Lagway, from what I could tell, he was fooled. Sometimes a quarterback is just off. He's off his game and he airmails it, or his mechanics are bad, but he's not making bad decisions. He's throwing the ball poorly. Looked like he was fooled. Like he didn't see guys. He didn't recognize coverages.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything. It was definitely a show of horrors for him. Bad decisions, inaccurate throws. They definitely caught him. Shout out to former Miami Hurricanes defensive coordinator Blake Baker, another coach who's gone somewhere else and refound his mojo, going back home to Louisiana. Good for him. Very happy for him. Another person who didn't work out at the time on the staff here at Miami, but he had it dialed up and had Lagway in hell. A very talented player. And UF does have, talented players on the roster. I just don't think that they're a very good team. I think, even with the things that they do well, they don't really have it together. They haven't scored a lot. They haven't scored a lot of points, even against USF. Again, you talk about the lack of explosivity on offense. You talk about the lack of finishing drives on offense. They have a negative turnover ratio, but a positive points off of turnover ratio because these teams got turnovers and didn't score the ball, with the exception of like the pick six against LSU. But like USF got a few turnovers. They didn't score it really right, in the immediate aftermath of the turnover. So like that's where the stat comes from. But it's crazy that they have a negative turnover ratio and a positive points off of turnovers allowed, points off turnovers ratio on the year. But yeah, this is another chance for Miami to really do what Miami does, go through their process and go out and win, earn victory. The whole program is really dialed in. It does feel different. It doesn't feel like window dressing. You got guys coming in fresh off the street, after spring, like a Moture who just got here in like May. And they all talk about it. It's like a thing where, the phenomenon in dating when you're dating a person and the person that you're dating starts using your verbiage and lexicon, like your words and phrases. It's a subconscious thing that humans do to show connection. It's a lot like that in the locker room, bro. Like I've heard the exact same phrase from Cristobal, from Heatherman, from Carson Beck, from Malachi Tony, from Mesdor and Bain, from Toure, like, and multiple phrases, hey, we're just working, we're hungry, we're focused, it's about us, the process, we're going to do what we need to do every single week to prepare the way we need to prepare. We're going to do this, that, and the third. And I mean, we have the talent to be able to do it. We have one of the most talented rosters in the country. Pilo says Miami is the best team in the country. I wouldn't fight you on that to this point of the year. We need to go out and continue to prove it. You see Lagway's stats there. If they throw it again 49 times, Miami's going to win by 3 scores. I don't think that they can keep it competitive throwing that many times against Miami. I know that they do have a nice offensive line. Austin Barber at left tackle, Slaughter at center, very good players. And they have a couple other guys on the line who are also very good. I think the Miami's line is better on offense, and the defensive line is also, I think, the toughest that they're going to face, even including LSU from last week. Jaden Ball, the running back, he's talented for sure. So we definitely have to key on him. I know that there's a lot of window dressing and things to playing football. Mario Cristobal is taking things right back to second grade Ned. Run the ball and stop the ball. Stop the run. Everything else comes from there. So, yeah.
You see where I've got Miami ranked.
Numero uno, top of the list. That's great.
I'm a resume ranking guy. I just think it's the best resume. So I wins and losses, number one. Number two, opponents, quality of opponents. Number three, performance. So like if they would have won these, if they would have beaten South Florida 28-27,
right,
then I probably wouldn't have them number one. So
understandable and reasonable,
but those three things for me.
Right.
So that's what I look at.